Hey everybody, I am Big Will. That is Southern Comic Geek, and that is Who Dat Comics and Movies. Or did you change it to just Who Dat Comics now?
It's still Who That Comics and Movies. Too
It's
lazy
still
to
Who Dat.
change
Okay.
it.
Well, Who Dat's Comics and Movies then. And we are going to be talking comic book financials, mainly mine, because not too long ago I did a thing saying, hey, I'm going to be trying to do this as a business. So we're going to talk about how I'm writing everything down, how I'm separating everything. We're going to talk about the tax man. Ooh. And also just general the money end of comic books that we oh so love. Uh, because if you didn't love comics and you tried to get in the game, you wouldn't do very well. And it will probably end after a while unless you got really lucky. Because this is one of those things where to do well, you got to know your stuff, and you won't know your stuff unless you just love these comics. And all of us here on this panel do, and I would reckon all of you that watch do as well. So let's get started. But first off, Southern, who dat? How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good. Nice day to be off.
Oh yeah. So I guess before we dig into the financial stuff, I literally like 2 hours ago bought a small collection. It was from Facebook. I hate Facebook, but every now and then, you know, might find something. And the dude had around 250 books, and he sold them. If you throw in $5 for my gas, then I paid $135. Now, that's about 54 cents a book. That's actually kind of high. You really want to pay around 30 cents a book or even less when you buy a collection, but I'm starting out, so I'm going to have to pay more upfront to get the books than a lot of the bigger guys. Like Gary can buy a collection that's $5,000. I'm kind of iffy on buying one that's 500, So there's leeway that you got to give yourself. So I base everything on $1. If I buy it for less than $1 and 20% can sell for more than $1 and 90% of what's left can sell for $8, I'm still making a profit. That's still good. So that's what I did. So let me show you guys some of the stuff that come in this thing. Of course, there's always some Image. There's some Turok.
Whoa. Wait, hey, hold up. Turok?
That's in every collection. Some Bloodshot. But
I could deal with that.
Yeah, well, you and like 3 other people I could name, and that's it. But we got some West Coast Avengers stuff. This is a minor key, but hey, I can put $2 on it. That's what you want. You pay less than $1, sell it for $2. That's giving somebody a deal on a comic, and you're still good to go. Issue 63, that's a minor key. Got $2 on that. Then, of course, everybody loves Star Wars. So Star Wars Annual 3, that's a great cover. $8 on that one. And then we got Star Wars 15. Han Solo on the cover. $5 for it. Got issue 5, but it's a Whitman reprint. And I didn't know till about 5 minutes ago that it was Whitman reprint. But hey, $5. So that's doing pretty good. And there's a couple other books I got from it. My favorite one is this so far that's come out because it looks. If I got it graded, press clean and graded, it'd be a 9.6. I don't know if it's worth it though, but it's cool. Moon Knight #1. Still a cool book. Anyway, so I pulled out all the keys. There's like 10 or 12 of them. And I haven't looked through everything else, but I think I did all right because everything's going to sell for around $1 or more. I mean, with the ones I showed you, that's well over my $1 that I needed to get for everything. So I should be okay. But So what do you guys think? Have you ever bought a collection? And if you had, how do you go about buying it? What do you look at how many and what you're paying per book, or do you just look at keys? Like how do you go about it when you've ever bought a collection? Big or small?
For me, it's a mixture of both. You try to see how many books you're getting, see if any keys you're getting in there. You want to be fair to the person, but you got to be fair to them, telling them, look, I'm going to be reselling the majority of this stuff, so I need to make some money. I know you need money now, but so it's like, but I got to look at all the factors before I can just, And the most recent one I bought, I spent a good bit of money, but they had I spent like $2,000, and but it was like probably a short box of books. But I knew they had NYX3 and 5 Young Avenger 1s. Okay. So the rest of the stuff, was just gravy on top.
So with that kind of collection, you basically went in and say, if I buy these 2 books, I get all the rest for free. It's basically what you would do.
Yeah, basically what ended up being after, because I sold the NYX and I sold Young Avengers, so basically all the rest were free by now. Yeah. So.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I haven't gone through and looked up anything on the rest of this stuff, so maybe I'll find gold. But even if I don't, I'm very happy with what I paid, what I got for what I paid. What about you, Southern?
Yeah, two things. One, I want to be able to figure for, that doesn't mean you always get it, but figure for a 50% profit margin. Now, he does in bigger books, right? Most of my stuff that I sell on my channel or whatnot, whatever, is going to be $3 to $5. So it tells you where I want to be as far as a profit margin. Again, a lot of times the people need the money now. They think their collection's worth X amount. Well, hey, you got to pay for the ability to sell it now. You pay more for a Coke at the convenience store than you would if you just waited and got it at the house or the grocery store.
Oh, grocery store, yeah.
Yeah. So that convenience is what I got to have, in the way of a lower priced item. And I'd also like to, because you're never going to be able to thumb through all of the books when you're sitting there, because usually it's a time thing or you're not in a good place. And you want to find a couple of money books. When I say money books, again, it's subjective. What's a money book? Like the stuff you bought, Big Will. I mean, if you found a couple of $10 books, those are money books for that collection.
Like that Star Wars annual is a money book for this collection, but I priced it at $8.
Yeah, because if you sell it for $8, then you can have a lot of them that were just 2. Because I bought collections before, and then you get them home, and then the thing's so ragtag you don't even want to worry with selling it. So if you were basing it on the average of how many books is in the collection, you're going to lose. But yeah, so that you want to have this couple of money books to keep from your mistakes. I bought about 6 or 7 short boxes one time from a dealer. According to him, they were all dollar books, but but I had already thumbed through some of them, and some of them weren't worth keeping. I actually donated them for a tax write-off to the boys, the orphanage. But some of them were like the Batwing first appearance of. It's not. Is it Jay? It wasn't Jace Fox. It's his brother in the Batwing costume.
Tim Fox.
Yeah. So first cameo and first appearance, they were in there. And so I was like, oh, okay. So those were the money books. I mean, they more than paid for that. And it's an average, because if you go through enough collections, you'll eventually hit some like that.
Yeah. Well, as far as how I'm doing this, I got hit with CGC for 2 different bills. That's not on this sheet that I'm about to show. It's a Excel spreadsheet kind of thing that I put to, or that I got my mommy to do it. I don't have Excel on my computer, and I don't know how to use it, even though I did, but my mom does. So she's offered to help my bookkeeping by putting it on the Excel for me. So I came up with it, but she wrote it down. But I got to add that. And then I recently sold a few books to JB, Discovery Bay, in order to pay for this collection that I just bought. So I don't have that on here either. But I'm gonna make myself big and just we'll start talking. This is how I've got it separated. And of course, when you deal, I don't know how your guys' states are, but my state of Alabama, you have to do your sales tax every month. You got to put in for that if you're a business, and I'm licensed. I am a business. So this is going to be just for January when stuff happens in January. But I have my book cost, which I'm about to add because I just bought some books. Those are all the fees that I've been charged from like eBay and PayPal for everything. I haven't bought any supplies yet. That's where that'll go. Of course, I just told you I got hit with 2 different bills for CGC. I got to add that there. I'll explain what separated shipping is here in a minute. If you notice, it's not on everything. The state threshold is so I don't have to deal with other people's state sales tax. I'll explain that. And then, of course, that's my cash in, what I actually had put into the bank account is what the cash in is. So obviously book cost is pretty simple. You guys can figure that out. Just, it's the cost of the books. The selling fees, whatever eBay charges me, I put that down. Whatever PayPal charges, I put that down. And I also put down, short box, what they charge. I do the math, figure it out. That's what all those are. Supplies are self-explanatory. Grade and press and clean, that's self-explanatory. You know what that is. The separated shipping, how do you have to deal with sales tax? Do you sell enough or do you guys not have to? I'm talking your own home state.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I probably should, but I don't do my comic sales under my LLC. I file it with my personal income.
Okay. So, well, in my state, Alabama, if you charge shipping and it's with a known carrier like the Postal Service, and it's separated out, like it's not built into the price, you break it out, then you don't have to pay sales tax on the shipping. So that's why I have that separated out, because the one sale that skipped, that one right there, that is a short box sale. Short box doesn't break out the shipping for you. They just charge a flat fee, so I don't have the option to separate out the shipping. But PayPal and eBay, they separate it out. So I get to subtract that from my grand total when I pay my taxes. And I don't have to pay sales tax on the shipping, which is nice because that can get expensive.
Well, Shortbox is charging the buyer directly for their shipping. So yeah, you wouldn't be charged anyway.
Yeah, it's just a flat fee. I don't know how much it is. As far as the shipping, I don't know anything. They just send me a thing, I slap it on there and send it.
Yeah.
So I don't even put it on here. But,
yeah, it's between $10 and $15 they charge.
Yeah, but like I said, eBay, it's separated out exactly. When I sold JB his books, I gave him a price that was, shipped price. But when I sent him an invoice, I said, okay, well, this is a medium flat rate because they're slabs. So I said $15, which is a medium flat rate. And I put that in the shipping so that when you get sent the invoice, it's separated out. So that way, when I add it to the separated shipping, I don't have to pay sales tax on it, which saves me money in the long run. And it makes sense too, because I don't want to charge shipping. You guys don't want to charge shipping. We just have to get it to the person that bought it, so we have to ship, and that costs money. They don't do it for free.
Right.
Yeah. In the medium, you got to change that to like $15.50 or something like that. Isn't it like $15.50 now?
I don't know, man. I use stamps.com, so I'm actually paying a little less than the $9 and the $15 that I charge. So I just go with that.
Yeah, I know it's like very little less off for the $9 because I just did some. It's like $8.80. And I'm saving like 20 cents. So I'm not even saving really because I'm not charging you for the supplies. So once you get your supplies number, you'll have a more accurate number of your shipping because that has to be a factor in. It has to be.
but I don't know when I'm going to get have a charge for those shipping supplies. Other supplies, yeah, but man, I bought like a year ago 400 Geminis. I still got a lot of Geminis. It depends on how much and how often I get to shipping items and selling them that way versus in person. So far slow going, but
I'll tell you like this though, like make sure you stay up on that, because how the supply chains in our country, you never know what can happen, and you might just start turning them out, and then you say like, say you get down to like 50, you're like, all right, let me place an order. But say it takes them like 3 to 6 months to come in.
Well, hey, I'm already starting to hurt because of bag and boards. I need a lot of bag and boards, but I'm buying like one pack at a time, and that's not going to cut it. So I've got to sell enough to the breaking point of discount is 1,000 bags and boards. Once you hit that, you get a discount, and I don't know how many more. It might be over 10,000 to get another discount, but at least through my LCS going from him. But I figure if I could get enough money together to buy like 2,000 bags and boards, that should last me a pretty decent while. So I just got to get to that point, because I literally, bagging those few that I showed you, used up the last of the bag and boards that I had here. So
are you getting a discount from, I'm assuming, the Deep?
No, not the Deep. My LCS is the one in Decatur, and he gives a flat 10% discount if you have a box, which of course I do. So I get that, but it's $2 off each, the bags and the boards. Every pack, it's $2 off once you hit that 1,000 mark. So I just got to get up enough money to place an order for that. And then this state threshold that I have, I was so worried about doing this stuff and having to worry about taxes, because, they passed that thing to where you got to, if you do on the internet, you got to worry about sales tax in every state. Man, if we have to worry about that, that is insane. Man, can you even begin to comprehend the headache that will cause? And then I figured something out. You got to have Nexus. Nexus used to, by the way, this is just me talking what I've learned. You learn yourself. I am not a financial advisor or tax advisor or anything like that. So this is an entertainment show. But I learned that what the Nexus is, or what it used to be, was if you sold a product in, say, Mississippi, then you had Nexus in Mississippi because that's where you were located. But if you sold it in Alabama from Mississippi, you didn't have Nexus because you don't have a physical presence. Well, now they've changed it to where if you do that, you have Nexus. And I'm like, well, okay, great. So now I've got to worry about sales tax. Well, no, you don't. Because each state has a threshold of Nexus. In other words, if you meet this threshold, then you have to start paying sales tax to them. Luckily, most states have a threshold of like 200 transactions or $100,000. I'm probably not going to hit that. I know I'm not going to hit $100,000 in sales in a year to one specific state. And I doubt I'm even going to hit 200 transactions. So I don't have to worry about it. I just got to worry about my state and paying my state's taxes and sales tax. But if I ever get close or think I'm getting close, thanks to having the state threshold here where I have the state and the amount and the date, I can make sure. So I'm not going to go over. So that's why I have the state threshold. And cash in, that bit, that's easy. That's just what cash I get brought in. Simple. So I think, what do you guys think? I think that's a pretty good separation and keeping it organized.
So if you do on eBay, though, eBay's collecting and distributing the appropriate sales taxes, all right?
Well, eBay has Nexus though because they're so large. So when I sell something to you on eBay, eBay will charge Mississippi tax and take care of Mississippi, but they don't do that for Alabama. I have to do that on my own as the seller here in Alabama.
Hmm.
So they'll take care of Mississippi. I don't have to worry about it. And then I just deal with my own taxes the way I would do here. But if I sold the 201st transaction or the $101,000 in Mississippi, and I didn't do it through eBay, say I just did it through PayPal on YouTube, then I would have to worry about getting with Mississippi, figuring out how to give them their money, and take care of Alabama. But luckily, I'm probably not going to hit either one of those. And or if I do, it'll be because I'm making like $1 million a year, in which case I won't care. I'll have a guy for that. So, anyway, I learned that. I didn't know that. I thought it was going to be a much messier thing. And I thought I might be stuck using eBay, which is the most expensive place to sell, but it also has the most eyes. But still, it's like, if you count sales tax, it's 24% for me on eBay. If you count my state sales tax as well as what they charge you. So I'm glad I don't have to do that.
Sure.
So any other comments on how I'm breaking this out? You think I should do anything different or better, or you think that's good going forward? I think it's pretty easy to see what I'm doing if I ever got audited or if I needed to show this to my tax guy.
Yeah. I mean, at any start of anything, it's always best to start practices and standards when things are small, because if you ever get any bigger, it's hard to go back and then make yourself start doing things at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always easier to do it like you're doing now, because right now, if you were just looking at now, that seems like overkill, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you've already established a routine and a pattern, best practices, when you get bigger, it won't be that big of a deal to keep up with.
Yeah.
Is I just know so much stuff that you gotta keep account for, and as far as when you're doing stuff like you traveling to get those books as a travel expense, that you have to,
I actually redid my trip on the car, so I know exactly how many miles it took me to go get those books and come home. So I forgot to write it down, but I haven't moved, so when I crank it up, I'll be able to write it down exactly.
Yeah, there's just so many. Even when you go, like, say you go pick up supplies for your business, that's still got to be marked down too. And it'd be like Son said, once you start doing it, it's easier to keep it going, because like if you don't do it, you're not gonna want to do it.
Yeah,
well, I'm gonna want to do it.
Going to the LCS, I'm not gonna worry about my gas. I'll just worry about the actual money spent there, because half the time I'm picking up some of my personal stuff anyway.
Yeah,
but
so it just makes it easier once you do it. It's just like I said, I do it like as a low income, because I don't do a lot of transactions, and I'm not doing $100,000 or whatever my state is. I don't even think. I know it's not. I know it's the transactions, I think, are around the same that you said, but I'm not even doing that many transactions. So
well, for your own state, it doesn't matter. You're technically supposed to claim every single dollar for your own state, but I won't say nothing. But all the others, the 49 other states, is what you got to worry about. But I think the lowest threshold amount, I think, is New Jersey. And then there are some states, like I think Washington, is just zero. They just don't have. You don't have to pay anything because they don't do sales tax. So there's like 4 or 5 states like that. So that's nice.
Yeah, and then you got a couple that do no income tax, huh? State income tax.
So I don't think I'll have to worry about that for a while. It's a good problem to have when you're ready to have it. because that, like I said, I'll have to be making like $1 million or something.
Once you see yourself starting to get closer and closer, like a million is like probably like a end goal, but like you'll be able to see if you get into 50,000, 60,000, then you'll be able to see what changes.
That would be nice.
Yeah, but at that point you'll be able to see what changes you need to make because you might have to move your headquarters of your business in another state to benefit.
Yeah. But right now, my goal is to make not profit, but just gross make $10,000 this year. I think that's a doable small goal. I know I'm going to be at the Huntsville convention with a booth. There's a small local convention thing out in Rogersville, or no, I think it's out in Florence, Alabama. That I think I'm going to go to 2 different weekend shows there because it's cheap. I think it's like $100. It's like a sports card and collectible show. So even if I don't sell a couple hundred books, a couple $100 worth, that's still good. And it's experience for me doing, shows. And I'm hoping at some point I might be able to like set up a booth at another show this year. Like maybe I could go to Memphis. That'd be a far travel one, but not, too far. And that might be cool. I don't know.
Memphis is a really good show, and it's a really good comic show. So, And
right now, vendors, they haven't even opened for vendors right now. And Dragon Con hasn't opened for vendors either, but that's a super expensive one. I'd have to spend like $1,500 for a booth. I'm not ready to do that.
That's more than Fan Expo.
Well, there's like 150,000 people there, so.
Yeah, Fan Expo I think is under 1,000. I know that.
Yeah, but then you think about, okay, how many people are there in cosplay that don't have any pockets to buy comics, So
yeah, so I think we'll hold off on that one. But there's other shows. I just gotta figure out, what would be good and make sure I apply before it ends. Like, I don't want to go to MegaCon, but I was just curious what they charge. I can't find out because they've already closed it because it's happening in, I think April is MegaCon. But
April, May,
somewhere around there. But they've already closed down. You can't apply to be a vendor. So I had no idea how much they charge, but I wasn't going to be one anyway because that's too soon. So no skin off my nose. But
yeah, I looked into Dallas Fan Expo and I know it was under 1,000. Just because a couple of the guys wanted to know. So.
Well, the great thing about Huntsville is it's at that point where it's a big enough show to be called a bigger show. It's not like Dragon Con big or MegaCon big or anything like that. But it's a nice, bigger show, but the prices are still like a small show because it was, I think, $350 for my booth that I've got there for this year. That's actually really good. I know of shows that I think the Magic City show in Birmingham, I'm not going to go to it because it's generally it's a more crappy show. But it's like $400, $500 for a booth there. So that tells me that Huntsville's got excellent pricing.
Yeah, for sure. And because you were going to pay some of that out in a ticket just to get in anyway. So, and I'll tell you just in my mind, if I was going to do the con route, would be to go to places that are known as comic conventions. Huntsville is a good one. Memphis is good. Heroes Con is another one.
I was going to say Heroes I looked into. A little too expensive for me right now, but I think I'm going to try and have it be the show that I go to as a fan this year. I'll get with my buddies if we can do that one.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as for business, Huntsville, those other 2 in Florence, that I mentioned, and that's it right now. But I'm looking into other things, but I can't look into the future so much because I don't have any money coming in at the moment. I got to start selling now and doing some stuff.
Well,
so I'm hoping
and building
I can
your
get on.
inventory.
Do what?
And building your inventory because you
Well,
want to
yeah,
have a good selection for this boost.
I've got a pretty good amount right now, but if I start selling it off now, I'll need to replace it a little bit. But I'm trying to get on. Sands hadn't got back to me yet. Maybe I'll be on his Tuesday auction, and if anyone else is doing an auction, like if I hear Big Lion Cat's doing one, I might try and get on his and just see if I can come up with some stuff to sell. Like I don't have any real big books right now. I got a couple, but they're at CGC. But I can put together some nice things that I think people would enjoy, and maybe be able to make a profit from them.
Yeah, maybe you probably can message Geeky Dad and what's a Geeky Dad? Sold Twice. They do a smaller type of auction on Thursdays now, which does look like they've been doing very well to me, in my opinion.
To be such a small channel. Yeah,
small channel. They're only getting around 20 to 25 people, but the people are buying. So, I always said it's all about the people that are buying. You can have 10 people in there, and if you got a couple people buying, make more money. You make more money there than you make on a bigger 100 people viewing.
Yeah, I was about to say having 100 people watch your auction is all well and good, but if it's an auction, you want at least 99 of them to be buying. That's the goal. So I figure if you got a quarter of the people buying, that's probably pretty good. So the goal would be at 20 to 50 people would be pretty decent if a quarter's buying. Obviously, if you get those bigger numbers, just a quarter buying would be great.
Yeah, so, they're one to hit up, I would say.
Yeah, they probably have a opening. And so the other question is, how many Turok Bloodshots did you have in this collection?
I didn't even bother digging them out to look at them. I just saw the titles. I'm like, okay, and I kept flipping.
I'm just interested in issue ones. Those are my guilty pleasures.
I don't think there was any issue ones. I didn't see any chrome. But yeah, okay. So I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? Because I don't have that much to show. I think we're good with the show since I don't have much to show.
So on your, have you done like a subtotal as of right now? Have you made profit?
As of right now, depending on the answer to one question, I either have made right now $165 in profit or $106 in profit. It depends on the answer to a question. But I've done cash in. If you don't add in my fees that are technically part of the cash in, I'm at $488.
That's gross.
Yeah, that's gross. And the net would be either 165 or 106. I'll figure that out later. But I'll have an actual answer by my next month. This is my first month, people.
Okay. So if your gross is 400 something, your net's 100 something, so you got like a 20 something % net or profit then?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also if you look at what I've sold, this is a small enough amount. I can tell you what all this stuff is. Like the $80 cash in that I did was one comic.
Okay.
It was a Mr. Miracle #1. The $25 one was one single comic. It was a signed Crisis on Infinite Earths #1, signed by George Perez. And I paid $1 for it, by the way. And then the Mr. Miracle I paid $15 for. And then the $58.50 is actually that is a Spider-Man #1, I believe, the McFarlane. I think I sold it. And then the 179.95 is a Strange Adventures 205. That's the first Dead Man. I sold that, and I paid.
I was going to ask you if you had sold that.
Yeah, I paid $50 for it, and you see the cash for how much the books are or how much they cost. That 165 or 106 is based on January.
Okay.
My January totals. The real cost of the books is I bought them in 2022, so I can't put them on January stuff.
That's correct.
But if you add all that stuff in, I'm probably around a break even right now. But maybe a small profit. But that's because that's literally 4 books. I have probably over 1,000. So I mean, we're talking about 4 books.
So yeah, so you got, what you're saying is you got an inventory building up, which is good,
Yeah, I've got plenty of stuff to sell. It's just, this is the stuff that I knew I could get, like Mr. Miracle #1. I knew I could get, $100 for the 1 book. So I went ahead and sold that. And, and then, slabs are pretty good, but I don't have good quality slabs. I mean, I have nice grades, but they're things that people don't buy a whole lot.
Okay.
I got 20 of them on Shortbox. By the way, if you go and look in the description, you'll find my link tree, and you'll see all the stuff I have on Shortbox. I'm hoping as I grow, I can get better stuff on there, so I'm having someone buy, start off maybe once a month, and then maybe buy weekly, and then maybe get to where there's someone buying once a week on Shortbox, and then maybe put something on eBay that sells maybe once a week, and then do the live shows, and then have the cons I go to, where hopefully when I go to my con, I'm going to bring in like $1,000, and that's going to be mainly dollar books and stuff, because no one wants to spend, big money unless it's a really great deal. So I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, in those slab books, you gotta find like certain buyers, if it makes any sense. Like you got buyers who want slabs for everything, and then you have other people that like to do giveaways, and you can always, so it's different ways that those, it might not be the slabs that you want. Like it's not no first appearance of Black Cat, but you might have like a reprint of the Black Cat in the 9/8, just like, and somebody might be like, "Oh, this would be great for a giveaway," or somebody who likes that stuff, who can't afford the Black Cat, be like, "Oh, this would be a good placeholder."
Well, my biggest problem is that a lot of the stuff, at least half, maybe a little more, that I have on Shortbox are DC. So, and they're not like the real big keys for DC, so a lot of people don't really want to go for them. And I think I could. Now, first off, if this was a 9/8, I wouldn't sell it. It'd be in the PC. But if I were to sell a 9/8 of this, I could probably sell it relatively fast compared to the trouble I'm having with it now. But that's because it's an 8.5. I mean, even though it's a newsstand, a lot of people don't want to spend money on an 8.5.
Yeah, but I think to Hudat's point, that's the other thing, because previously when we talked, you were talking about maybe trying to grow, say, your brand or your channel, and giveaways are a perfect way to do that. So, it's a book like that you can't move, but hey, somebody will take it for free. So you can do subscription drives or whatever. But on the DC front, there's a lot of people that visit all the auctions, like Stu Cat or Patrick Kelly, or some of these other ones that are big DC fans. That's really what they like. So, or they're Superman fans. In Patrick Kelly's case, so
and maybe do some innovative stuff, like what I was doing for some books I couldn't move, and you do that for the books like the lower end books. You would love to get $50 for a book. That's what I'm trying to say. That type of book, or you would love to get $40 for that type of book. But what I was doing for a little while was top spender add-on. And be like, hey, this is, and it got little people, for a few weeks, people were competing, and they wanted to be that top spender. They wanted to be the one that got that extra stuff.
I hear what you two are saying, but if I don't get on an auction, it's all moot. I just got to get on the auction first, and then I hear what you're saying, and I like that idea.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned Sold Twice in them, because I know last week they didn't have that many people like to sell. Yeah. I think it was like 4 of us maybe, and it was the rounds were going quick. When I say
another issue I have is that a lot of these auctions, and I know it to a certain extent it can't be helped, but a lot of the auctions start late and they go for hours.
Yeah.
And, just health-wise, I can only do so much being so late in the day and for so long. And this is the only chair I have right now. I need to get me some money for a new chair, because after the first hour and a half, my butt's sore. We go over 2 hours and I'm starting to hurt.
Yeah, but I'd definitely say, definitely hit up Geeky Dad and Thursday. They're basically doing it at 7, I think, 7 Central. So that's not a bad start time. I like that's like a good. That's a great. I mean, because it's not too early for the West Coast, and it's not too late if you're on the East Coast.
Now, here's one thing that I'm going to have to start doing with these auctions is, because of that separated shipping thing I was telling you guys, and to make it all nice and clean for this being a business, I'm going to have to tell people, hey, email me or IG me your address and your email, and then I will invoice you. I hope you don't think that's going to cause any confusion or anything.
Now, if you do it early, if you do it early, it won't. They got a group I follow called Flip Mode Comics on IG, and they switch like 3 different times. Now they're doing like QuickBooks, where they have the email. They'll send you the invoice through the email. You pay through the invoice. You can use credit card. You can use I think it's your bank account, and I think maybe PayPal, but not 100%. But it's like different ways you can through that invoice. You use QuickBooks, and it keeps everything in line with them. The shipping and all that comes up. They don't have to do anything extra. Yeah, it's so simple.
The reason why I want to invoice is that you don't have to have PayPal for me to invoice you and you pay.
That's why they do the same. Yeah, they do the same thing. They invoice. They don't. That's why I said there's different ways. I think they can pay through their QuickBooks app, which they send you the invoice. Like I literally have one in my email waiting for me to pay.
Oh yeah,
and I can pay. And I can pay different ways.
So hopefully that's not going to be confusing, because I'll be doing it probably every time it's my turn. Be like, wait, send me your email. And I will send you an invoice.
It shouldn't be if you tell them ahead of time. I don't think I
have to have the invoice, but I do have to have it, obviously. To answer your question, John, it always works until it doesn't. So when I stop, it hasn't worked. Until I stop, it's working fine.
But right now, he's too legit to quit. So.
Obviously.
Too legit to quit. It's gonna work out. It's small business startup, slow startup. If you were in it to make $1 million tomorrow on comic books, you're in the wrong business, and they got a whole bunch of big dealers that'll tell you you're in the wrong business.
I am not expecting to make a profit this first year because of all the supplies and the setup, and I need some short boxes, for example. That's a once every maybe decade buy, depending on how rough you are with them. But I'm gonna have to buy that this year, and bags and boards. You don't have to buy them often when you buy in bulk, but that's an expense I'm gonna have to do this year. So there's other things too, and just the fact that I'm learning. I don't expect. That's why I'm putting it at $10,000 gross. That's what I'm hoping to bring in this year. I worry about the profit later, and odds are I'll probably be a little negative overall for this year, and that's okay. The way I got my finances separated. You don't want to commingle. I learned that the hard way. I got the house over here and the business over here. They're not kissing cousins. They separate completely. So I can do that and keep up with everything, and I'm still going to be okay. But the second year going forward, I think I'll be able to really start doing some stuff.
Make sure you lease your house to your business for 2 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks is the max.
Yeah, you can use a certain square footage of your house for your business, and that way you can write that off. I mean, initially, it's going to be like your list. I mean, it's kind of overkill, but if you establish these kind of rules along the way, you'll be all right.
Yeah, benefits. Yeah, because I know certain little tricks. I've been seeing stuff, and I know one of the tricks is like,
I don't have to worry about that one. This house was a gift. Literally, I don't pay anything for the house.
I'm reading John's comment.
It was a gift.
John, I knew that he beat me to the joke and say, but a California guy saying that's 102.
But my grandfather died, and anyway, I wound up with the house. So
that's nice.
Thanks, Grandpa.
So, I mean, you talking about boxes. I mean, fortunately, like if you're buying like bigger collections at a time, normally they come with the boxes. And if you get that one-off,
but they come with those cardboard, ripped to shreds, rat pee, all that other nasty stuff. I ain't working with those.
You've gone to cons before and felt nasty after you looked through all them boards and bags?
Hey, look here. When you come to my booth, I have those corrugated plastic boxes. Everything's in a nice, clean bag and board. You're going to want to come to my booth just because it feels good and it looks nice. Okay?
Look, I'd just rather take the bottle of Germex with me, but because I feel like I ain't got a deal until I had to pull like where it's sticky together between a board and bag, and another board bag. That's where all the
shop. They got a shop by me. That's how you feel.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll just let you do with your fetishes on your own. I'll have different ones over here.
Well, and so you're, I mentioned this earlier, but a good place to go near you is Dave's. I mean, I say near you, it's in Atlanta, so I mean that's not too terribly far for you.
It's far enough. That's a trip.
Write it off.
It's a business trip.
I don't see that benefit until I do the taxes. I have the money to take.
Yeah, I mean, typically at Dave's, I'll just fill up a whole long box, and there's all because the market speculates up and down based on movie announcements and all this other kind of stuff, and so they don't care. They got all these long boxes of stuff, and you fill it up, and that's how they charge you. And usually you're 50 to maybe 75 cents depending on the sale they got in the book itself. So
yeah, well, like I said, I'm trying to find collections. I've got to get I'm getting some cards done up that way I can just leave them random places, and it has my information. If 5% of those work, they're worth it.
And you know what else? You know what else could help? And it is just an idea. And I know if I lived as close as you did, it does to those guys, I would do it. It's like once you get enough of books, like that you feel comfortable doing it, like Yahweh and Dustin from Two Brother Comics, that'd be a perfect combo to do like a sale with Elite Comics 11.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure with the three of you guys, y'all could have enough books for 4 hours. And once you get settled and get how you want to be set up, because those shows, if you could do the 4-hour shows, or and it won't just be you. That's why I said it. If you do it with a group of a couple of other people, you can take breaks. Mm-hmm. So it'd be like those type of shows do very well, and doing those once, maybe every 6 months, would benefit a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many eyeballs in their auctions.
I got to get some stuff though.
As I said, like I'm talking about later, later out the year. I'm like maybe if we're talking about this time next year.
that would help me is by putting content on my IG when I can, and putting content here on YouTube. Hopefully, I can get more eyes. The more eyes I get, I can do them to the link tree. The link tree links you to everything, and then someone will probably buy something because they knew a friend who knew a guy who happened to find a card or saw a video that had them go to the link tree, and then they found the, So hopefully, if I can be somewhat consistent here, because I used to have 525 subscribers, it dropped. People were leaving in the last few months to 513. If I can just be somewhat consistent and using like the shorts and stuff, I think I can get that back up ever so slowly, And
you know what can and I think all these things, and I just don't do them. I'm lazy, but you can do shorts like showing a book off, like the people think what the grade is. You can do that you can do that every time you get a book that you just want to do it with, like once a week, and people still would love it. Shorts like that, or shorts showing off like, hey, I picked up this. I spent this much per book. Do you guys think I did a good deal? And you're like, you just end it like that. It's like so many ideas for the shorts that'll build it up. You don't have to do like the news reporting shorts like some people have been doing lately. I've been noticing because I really don't care for those.
Of course, I could also. I just now thought of this. I could try my own auction on my own channel and have a few people, come and join me. And as long as it's advertised well, we might do pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't thought about that.
And just don't compete with the big guys, especially starting off. If Strictly or some of them folks have an auction on that night, the last thing
Monday night is probably the best night to not conflict with the big guys.
Yeah,
because there's something that goes down on Wednesdays. It's the comic book day. It's the day for us, and then somebody does on Tuesday. Somebody does something on Thursdays. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday they have something, and then Sunday. Saturdays not so much. Unless BLC does one, but I know Wednesdays and Saturdays kind of like the open ones, unless BLC does his one Saturday. But you usually know that like 2 or 3 weeks in advance. He tells people well in advance, so you'd be like, all right, I'll join him, or I won't do one that day. But Wednesday is pretty free. The only auction I know is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is the Madhouse. But they have a different following than probably you do, people. I
don't really have a following. I am lucky enough to happen to have 513 subscribers. I don't think I've done right by them. My content kind of sucks, but I'm trying.
Well, and if you got somebody that these people that are in that Madhouse in that example are strictly following on your channel, they typically follow them over. So they'll open up another tab or whatever.
Well, I wouldn't want to have more than 4 people selling, because it's too long there. It takes forever. I love Roman Curtis, but doggone, he takes forever to sell stuff.
That's why I had mentioned those guys this past Thursday. We literally had, I want to say, like 4, maybe 5. I don't even think we had 5. I think we had 4 people. It was going by so fast. I was like, I was only gonna stay 2 rounds. Those 2 rounds turned to like 4 or 5 rounds because it was that quick. I wasn't gonna stay long. I was just going ahead and support them, and it literally turned into 4 or 5 rounds because it was so fast.
Well, and the other thing too, Big Will, if you're looking at moving some of those books that maybe you have a couple of buy nows, but you're wanting to move those maybe lesser name books, not real big keys or something, is building you out of things so you can have. Well, I think you've done like on your table before, right?
Yeah, but when it comes to like the dollar books that no one wants or anything like that, I think that is where the con and me going, that's where those are probably going to get sold the best. And the name titles that everyone likes and the bigger books is probably where I'll be on the internet in one of the various forms that I have to sell those. Most likely, I think that'd be the easiest thing to do, and you know, everybody likes a dollar book.
Well,
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about like Comico books or anything like that. I was thinking like say a Superman book, but it's not a key, right? Or even an X-Men book, but it's not a key. I was thinking about like
Oh.
well-known characters, just maybe not a key in a particular
Well,
one.
with those, I paid under $1 for them, so I was thinking of doing like some lots, like all these are like Thor books or Thor related. Have another bunch and if I have 50 books, sell them for like $40 shipped or something like that, and see if people might go for it because you get a lot of.
What I've noticed, Big Will, when they do those tables, they do well if they're priced right. And this is my opinion and what I've experienced at the few conventions I've gone to. Those dollar bin books, they get flipped through, but not many people buy them. Because you know why people flip through them? Because they're hoping you screwed up. So I've always seen people flip through them, and they might grab one or two. But it's not, it's really almost not worth it when I see people flip through them because they're flipping. Oh, they were just trying to hope and find something. Then they say, "Oh, look at those books." So it was $10 books or $20 books. But when I see Southern and those guys do it, and like they'll clear a whole 8 books in like less than 5 seconds, like that's impressive.
Yeah,
I wish I had to.
But there's the logistics, though. I've done that before, and I don't know if I want to deal with having to have a setup to where I'm holding boxes for people, and then 6 months from now, this dude bought 2 books, and he hadn't paid for them, or he did pay for them, but he doesn't want to.
Yeah, the box holding thing is totally in the seller's favor, because there are people that will not buy until later in the auction because they're like, I hate to buy one book and then pay shipping on the whole thing, right? So but they know you'll hold it, not necessarily in perpetuity, because I've heard of people holding boxes in perpetuity, and that's just crazy. But if you say, hey, look, I'm gonna be on the next couple of weeks or whatever like that, we'll clear it out. And then you communicate with those said people, and it's not a big problem.
What do you do? Because you and the only person that has done it more than you that I know of is JB, and he kind of has issues. So how do you do it?
What happened with JB was when he was doing those auctions before, people would buy around, and then somebody would get a free book, but they never come back to buy anything.
The shipping.
Yeah, and they didn't want to pay shipping for the one book they just happened to get for free. So, with me, I'm not doing anything like that. So, but then you have that person that buys 3 books. A couple of auctions later, they're looking at stuff, and they'll pick up, if I can put 10 to 11 books in a box, they're like, okay, well, I'll do that, and I'll get something under normal circumstances, if I was in person, I probably wouldn't buy, but I like it well enough to fill it in a box because people just like the idea of making the most on their shipping. And so, but you stay in contact with those people. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I don't even have a short box full of stuff from people.
Do you get paid as soon as it's sold, or do
they
wait?
Yeah. So some people do that, but the way I work it is that they can, if they want to pay me for shipping now, that's fine, but you got to pay me for the books now. And so if they don't pay for the shipping, when we get to a place where it's full, then they pay for the shipping before I send them, obviously. In no way, unless it's pre-negotiated. I've had people say, well, hey, the auction's on Monday. I don't get paid till Friday. Is that okay? And if I've dealt with them before, yeah, that's fine. But
so I just don't know, man. That seems. I don't like.
What I miss?
Well, and the other thing is this, because like I was talking with a couple of other sellers prior to our Saturday auction, and they were talking about particular buyers. And these particular buyers frequent all the auctions. And so I'm not going to mention their names or anything, but they go to all the auctions and they overspend, as we have probably all been guilty of, right? And so then they like put off paying these particular sellers. And they asked me, and I said, no, I don't have a problem with. I've got a box currently with them here, but they've paid me. They don't owe me any money. And last night, so Saturday, I sold some books to a particular person, and they said, well, I'll pay you Sunday. I said, that's fine, because I knew, well, hold on, I really retract that, because then I'm going to pin down who it might be. So I knew that they would be getting some money. Let me put it that way. So Sunday, I noticed that they were frequenting somebody's auction pretty heavy. They were buying a bunch of stuff. So I messaged them and I said, hey, you remember what you told me? So in the middle of the auction. And so they paid me. But that's how you keep people from owing you any money, you know. I don't consider it habit because
you have to be, you have to do it.
Look, if I did that style, here's what I would have to have be said and everyone agreed to in order for me to do that way again. Is first off, whenever I sell you a book, you got to pay for the book or books by the end of the night. I don't expect you to pay every single time, every single round, but by the end of the event, you got to pay me for the books. If you want to pay for shipping, let me know so I can invoice you. That way I get that separated shipping. But if you don't want to pay shipping, you can just send me the money on my PayPal email, because PayPal doesn't care. They take that fee no matter what, you know. And then after, say, 1 month, if you haven't paid for shipping, I will contact you, say, 2 times. And if I get no response or you say you can't, then it's canceled, no refunds.
I have had to cancel people before. So that one person that would buy one book, they paid for the book, but then they went ghost. Never seen them on the auction, and I've reached out to them. They never answer. I'm like, well, screw it. I'm not gonna pay. I'm not gonna send your books if you haven't paid for shipping. And so I've just resold the stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you put that up on the deal, and when I say that, these are people that had those 2 or 3 books for a couple of months. They haven't frequented the auctions. You know, it just starts getting annoying having that 1 book or 2 books that somebody's got. And if they're not answering my messages, I'm not going to refund them. You know, that's on them.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you what I do. I kind of follow what Elite Comics 11 kind of been doing. It's like 24 hours. 24 hours. Especially communication within 24 hours. And if you don't have no communication and don't pay within 24 hours, I'm going to resell it. So that's what I'm going to start doing. I can't be chasing people down for, a little bit of money. I mean, I'm saying a little bit of money because it's not like I'm looking for thousands of dollars. That's why I kind of want to say a little bit of money, but I don't want to be chasing people down and emailing people multiple times. And, that's why I kind of don't like the email route. Some people love it, don't have IG, but they have YouTube, which doesn't make any sense. But if you're going to email, you gotta be faster with the email. The emails.
I'm okay if someone only has email, so long as I'm sending them an invoice and then they're going to pay me right then. But if I'm having to hold for them for shipping or something like that, then yeah, that's not, I don't like it. I mean, there's that certain someone me and you talked about one time off air about going through email that you're not dealing with again, and I'm probably going to tell them no, unless I can just invoice them and then be done with it. And there's another issue that I think some people just don't really have the money to be buying comics, but yet they buy comics and claim stuff. There's a particular person, I don't mind telling you off air who it is, that bought a couple books from me, like say $8 worth of books, just a couple books. Like 4, 5, maybe even 6 months later, or I'm like, hey, do you want me I need to ship these. And they're like, well, can you hold them? And I'm no, I can't. It's been like 6 months. So I managed to convince them to pay for the shipping, and I sent them their books. But that I won't have to deal with that again.
I try not to hold stuff. I really try not to hold stuff.
But if you're frequenting auctions, or you get into the deal of frequenting auctions, Big Will, I mean, you're not talking. You would just state, whatever your hold policy is. So if you're going to be on an auction a week, say, hey, I don't mind holding it for a week or two, but not 2 or 3 months.
So, yeah, if you're on a couple of auctions a week, I'd be like, it all depends on how frequently you're going to be doing it. But if you're on at least 2 a week, I'm the person. I used to hold it for a week. I would hold it for that's what I used to do. When I did my auction on Thursday, and I did Sam's auction on Sunday, I'd say, hey, if you buy something Thursday, I'm going to hold it until after Sunday.
Well, like I said, I don't know if you've heard all of it. Who that you might have been off.
Nah, that's not my daughter.
I'm okay with holding for like a month, but the books need to already be paid for. And when the month is over, if you have not paid, and I try and get you twice, and you haven't responded, or you haven't paid, then I would say, okay, I'm done. No refunds. It's canceled, and then that's all there is to it. And I would just resell the books to someone else who wants them. That's a bit cold-hearted, I know, but it is also a bit business. I'm trying to get to where I make a living doing this. I can't just, there was one person that said, "Oh, I'll hold for, and they'll hold something for like 2 years before you pay for it." I'm like, no, that's just stupid.
Yeah, there was a guy. He doesn't do any auctions anymore, but still.
I think I know who you're talking about. But
and literally, I was on the auction with him, and he says, "Oh, and if you can't pay tonight, that's fine." He said, "I've got one guy that's been working it out for a year." And I'm like, so when it came back around to my turn, I said, that's his policy, not mine. So just keep that in mind.
Hey, if it was a $40,000 what's it called? AF-15. Okay, I can understand that. Maybe. But no, he was talking like $5 books or $10 books. Like, if it takes you a year to work that out, you don't have the money to be buying.
Exactly. And if you're selling books, regardless of whether you want to sell them for a profit as a business or not, you're doing it mostly to either make room or to make some money to buy something new. Okay. In either case, you want to be paid for your time, and that's just simple in my mind.
And if you want to do it for room, how are you going to be able to actually do it for room if you keep all these boxes for people?
They just move from one place to the other.
So. Yeah, it's like, so that's what keeps me from doing that again. I mean, I like the auction though, where I'm going in, I'm selling this, and I give them a total, send them an invoice, they pay. I ship it within a few days. It's the whole box hold, have a grid for $1, like your cartoon crew thing. I
tell you, I really don't hold. So it's so funny when I do stuff, people know that I'm shipping your stuff out within a week.
I don't hold it.
Yeah, I had one guy. It's kind of funny when I do stuff.
Yeah, I had one guy say, "Hey, can you wait? I had this thing come up, and I got to spend my money on it," which legitimate. And I'm like, "No, I'm not holding. I need to sell this to you, and if you can't pay, that's fine. But that doesn't mean you get to claim it. That means I sell it to someone who can."
Yeah. Well, and lately there's been a couple of issues, and of course in the not too distant past, we had people that were selling in the community that just basically ripped everybody off.
Like Jay Blitz.
That's right. And I will say, in transparency, I bought a bunch of books from him, and I never got ripped off. So
I never bought from him, but I sold to him, and he paid immediately.
Yeah, I never had a problem. I
I've
know
never
other
had a
people
problem
did.
with him, but I believe the amount of people that came out, I'm like, okay, so he must have been, and obviously he's not here anymore. So
That's right. Well, and so, but there's been a more recent thing where people were like taking forever to mail books. So communication is a wonderful thing.
yeah,
If you as a buyer are communicating when you want your stuff sent, or if you as a seller setting the expectation of when it's going to be sent, that solves a whole bunch of problems. What I called one person out. I bought some books from this person, and he's a super nice guy, whatever. But then I hadn't seen my books, and so I'm like, "Hey, where's my books at?" And he goes, "I done mailed them off already." I said, "Oh, okay. You got a tracking number for me?" Didn't have a tracking number. I did get the books, but on the postmark, when he said they were mailed, they weren't mailed based on the postmark. So I sent him a message. I said, "Oh, this is why you couldn't do it, because you just lied to me." Now, I'm not going to be the guy in that case to call them out, but that means that I don't buy from them anymore.
yeah. Well, there's a certain someone that I don't see on auctions anymore. I think they didn't do anybody wrong or anything as far as I know, but he would come on and be like, and talk about how, yeah, well, I'll get these out. I'm sorry it's taking so long. And when he's saying that, it's like he's had the books sold for a month and he hadn't shipped them yet. It's like, okay, even if you're sick, give some kid $5. Hey, take these to the post office, or something. Get your book shipped. Mine, if you buy from me on eBay, I have a 2 business day handling. Mm-hmm. I will do it in that 2 business days. And if I buy on an auction or sell you something that's not on eBay, it's within that week that I sell it.
Well, here's an idea. Quit selling.
Right? Yeah, if it takes you that long.
If you're that far behind, just don't sell.
Yeah.
Let yourself get caught up. Then you can start selling again. But you're just making it perpetually worse by doing that.
Yeah. So anyway.
But obviously, we did not talk Big Will out of doing the con thing. He is full steam ahead. So hopefully it will work out for you. And maybe we can get some further updates when maybe monthly or whatever, when you can kind of see further.
Yeah.
On this.
Well, I think you're crazy to not have it even as an option, the con thing, because I'm telling you, man, you were there like that Friday. Mm-hmm. Half the time you were there, you were off getting your own stuff took care of. I actually did pretty dang good, and I didn't have a wall. I didn't have that many slabs or nothing.
But see, when I go to the con, I go for fun. Like Hudak kept seeing me at Fan Expo. I was in a line at an artist thing, or I was looking at books. I mean, that's why I go.
Yeah, we both were just ripping and running around having fun.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, if I'm there for business, that's what I'm there for.
Yeah, but then that turns into
I have a different experience than you would, where you're trying to sell, but you're also there to have fun. So it makes sense that I would, that's more of a better option for me.
Yeah. Especially if they're within driving distance for you.
Yeah, it's hard to describe. If I was doing more, so like if I was doing stuff like you was doing, Big Will, I still, since it's not but for you it's going to be your primary income. For me, it still wouldn't, and so I still have to have fun while I'm doing it, because I'm not going to be miserable like I am in my regular job. Doing it there too.
I mean, all this is fun for me. I wouldn't do it if I didn't have fun. Going to the convention, dealing with all this stuff, bagging and boarding, figuring out the price, that is fun to me. Seeing someone smile when you give them a good deal because you got a good deal, that's fun to me.
Well, and I guess I get that little fun. I get the fun thing too, because I mean that's what I do in my day job, But as far as selling goes, but I mean, so I get that. I guess I just get that release like on the YouTube auction, with other nerds, whether local or across the country, sell some books, and I get that interaction that way. So when I get to the con, I might pick some books up to sell.
I'm not discounting the YouTube or even the other things like the whatnot and all that some people do. I'm just saying I would rather put my effort into the con than into what you're doing, and not have to worry about it. And then I'm still going to be on the YouTube selling. I'm still going to do, the short box, the eBay, and all. But I don't want to put as much effort as you do. So I'll do that. I'll put that effort in the con.
Well, and yeah, I mean, it's each their own. I mean, so like, just like we've talked about before, Big Will, you don't like, me personally, I would rather have a whole bunch of books that I've got 50 cents to $2 in that I sell for $3 and make whatever that spread is right there. And I move it like Walmart style and do it that way than to be held, have a giant size X-Men #1 that I bought to sell. And I bought it at the top of the market, and now the market is what it is right now. And I'm stuck with it unless I just want to take the L. And so, other people are not that way. They like to, sell that one big book. And the other thing with the auctions, I guess the auctions wouldn't be as fun to me if I went auction after auction and I might have sold 1 or 2 books on there. I get that dopamine hit from the amount of books, that you move.
Yeah, I've got to readjust how I'm doing the auctions to where I'm going to be selling, like I said, like things together, dollar books and lots and stuff for a good price. And I might have the occasional book that's worth, $50 to $100, and then maybe every now and then a slab, or have a top spender slab like Houdet was suggesting. But I'm probably not going to do the whole try and sell a $500 book on a YouTube auction.
No, especially now. I mean,
that's an eBay or short box or at the con sale.
Well, and yeah, exactly. So I mean, like that. But even if it was at a con, I mean, I have a short box account and I sell books on there. I have an eBay account. I've been selling stuff on there lately. Even with those mediums, I just don't want to be holding the bag on that big of a book because of the way the market is currently right now.
Yeah. Of course, you also just, try not to buy at the top of a market.
Well, if we had a crystal ball and knew when that was, we'd all be rich, right?
Well, yeah, true. You also got to make sure whenever you buy a book, doesn't matter what it is, you make your money when you make it.
Yeah, I get it.
So if the FMV's $3,000, don't buy it for $3,000. Buy it for $2,500 or $2,800 if it's a really popular book. You don't want to set the new record or anything crazy like that. So whenever you buy a book, make your money as soon as you buy it.
Sure.
And then you realize that
when there's books that have gone down 70%, or 100%. I mean, it's just it's hard to time the market is all I'm getting at. And so
I'm not suggesting you do that. You also got to make sure you spread it all out and don't put it all into one book, because it's either going to work or it's not.
Yeah, and so
it helps.
Yeah, so I guess if I got into like $10 things, and it's just whatever niche anybody likes. For example, Beta Ray Jim. He sells a lot of Spider-Man boot boxes, or not boxes, but the books that come out of the Spider-Man boot boxes. He does really well with it, obviously. And so, but I don't. I've tried that before. I've gotten the Spider-Man boot box stuff.
I have. Everyone I know on YouTube got one of the prizes. I never did, and it made me mad.
Yeah. I mean, I bank on not getting the prize, but.
I still remember JB's unboxing, and he's like, unboxing that 181. I'm like, I won it.
The crazy thing was that box sit over there and not even open for a while.
That's when
he finally caught up on his unboxing stuff.
Hilarious. That's when Billy from Economics and Comics was still small enough. He was joining like people like us.
Mm-hmm.
But well, anyway, I think we beat this to death, and I hope everybody who's watching currently and who will watch on the replay, gets something out of it, enjoys it, And I'll show you again the way I'm separating everything. The comic book finances, as it were, are book cost. I'm keeping track of my selling fee. Everything gets a date, by the way. Everything's dated. When I buy supplies, they'll go there. I do have some grading fees and press and clean I got to add to that. And then I explained earlier in this live the separated shipping. So if you don't know what that is, you'll know. As well as the state threshold. And then cash in is simply the cash that brought in. Real simple stuff, And hopefully this page, this is just January. There's like 4 items on it. Hopefully I'll come back and it'll be a whole page full. At least that's the goal. Anyway, I want to thank Southern Comic Geek. Jason, thanks, man, for coming by. Russ, Hudat, thank you for coming by. And you know what, everybody, we'll see you guys later. And I should have a tagline or something. What should I end with? Keep It Comics is very Gary. Just something about the comic fam or enough said. Enough said's Comic Tom. What should I do? What do you do?
Until next time, keep reading, keep collecting. Adios. So you can establish that.
Thanks everybody for watching. Buy my stuff.